My name is Alexandra Martinez, and for the last 6 years my family has treated my career like an embarrassing secret they're forced to acknowledge only at holidays. It started when I graduated from Yale Law School at 25. My father had been so proud, his daughter the lawyer. My older sister Emma had gone into marketing, which Dad tolerated but never really celebrated. But law was prestigious. Law was respectable. Then I told them where I'd be working. The public defender's office. I still remember my father's face falling. In the Bronx, he said flatly. Dad, it's an incredible opportunity. Alexandra, you graduated third in your class from Yale. You had offers from every major firm in Manhattan. Sullivan and Cromwell wanted you. Cravath wanted you. And you're choosing to defend criminals for $63,000 a year. I'm choosing to defend people who can't afford representation, I said. It's constitutional work. It matters. My mother put her hand on his arm. Richard, maybe it's just for a year or two. Like a fellowship. But it wasn't just for a year or two. I spent 6 years as a public defender handling everything from misdemeanors to murder cases. I worked 100-hour weeks, fought prosecutors with unlimited resources, and won more cases than I lost. I became known in the Bronx as the firewall, because no matter how strong the prosecution's case looked, I always found a way through. My family never understood it. Every holiday gathering followed the same script. Emma would talk about her marketing campaigns for luxury brands, her salary increases, her corner office overlooking Central Park. My parents would beam with pride. Then they'd turn to me. Still working with criminals, Alex? They're called defendants, Mom. And when are you going to move to a real firm? Emma's boyfriend knows some partners at. I'm happy where I am. The disappointment was always palpable. 3 years ago, Emma started dating Trevor Williams. Trevor was a federal prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, and my father loved him instantly. Here was a lawyer who put criminals away instead of defending them. Here was someone making $185,000 a year at 32. Here was the legal career my father had wanted for me. Trevor is going places, Dad said at every opportunity. The U.S. Attorney's Office is grooming him for bigger things. Maybe even a judgeship someday. He wasn't wrong. Last year, at 35, Trevor was nominated to the Federal District Court for the Southern District of New York. It was almost unheard of. Most federal judges weren't appointed until their late 40s or 50s. My father threw a celebration dinner the night Trevor's nomination was announced. Champagne, speeches, toasts about how Trevor represented the best of the legal profession. I sat quietly at the end of the table, listening to my father praise the man who had been on the opposite side of 3 of my cases. Trevor had won 2 of them. I'd won one, a complete dismissal that made the New York Times because of the prosecutorial misconduct I exposed. Trevor and I never discussed our courtroom encounters at family dinners. It was an unspoken rule. My family wanted to believe we were both lawyers just doing different things. They didn't want to acknowledge that we were adversaries. But we were. What my family didn't know, what I'd carefully kept from them, was that 6 months ago, everything changed. I received a call from Senator Patricia Chen's office. Ms. Martinez, the senator would like to meet with you regarding a judicial vacancy. I assumed it was about recommending someone else. I'd worked with dozens of brilliant attorneys who deserved recognition. But when I arrived at the senator's Manhattan office, she got straight to the point. Alexandra, how would you feel about a federal judgeship? I stared at her. I'm sorry, what? Judge Morrison is retiring from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. It's one of the most important courts in the country just below the Supreme Court. I'm looking for someone brilliant, principled, and unafraid of powerful interests. Your name keeps coming up. I'm 31, I said. I'm a public defender. Federal appellate judges are usually older white men from corporate firms. Yes, she replied calmly. Which is exactly why we need to change that pattern. She slid a folder across her desk. You've argued and won 15 appellate cases. You've exposed corruption in 3 prosecutors' offices. Your constitutional law articles have been cited in Supreme Court opinions. And you're fearless. Inside the folder were letters. One from the Chief Judge of the Second Circuit, one from the Dean of Yale Law, one from the New York Civil Liberties Union, and one signed by 20 public defenders across 3 states. The dean had written, in 30 years of teaching, I have never encountered a legal mind as sharp or a moral compass as true as Alexandra Martinez's. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept the nomination. The process moved fast. The senator had connections. The timing was right. The president needed a win on judicial appointments and my record was unimpeachable. The FBI background check was exhaustive. The American Bar Association rated me well qualified, their highest rating. The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing was scheduled for 3 months out. I told no one. Judicial nominations could fall apart for countless reasons. I didn't want to celebrate prematurely. Then 2 weeks ago I was confirmed by the Senate, 67-33, a strong bipartisan vote. Yesterday I was sworn in as the youngest judge ever appointed to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. At 31. The ceremony was private. The press release would go out Monday morning. Until then I was under strict confidentiality orders. Monday morning was also my father's retirement party. His text came Wednesday. Retirement party Saturday 6 p.m. at the plaza. Black tie. Everyone important will be there. Of course I said I'd come. An hour later he called. Alex, I need to ask you a favor. I think it might be better if you don't come. He said it was about appearances. About Emma. About Trevor. About how awkward it would look. You defend the people Trevor prosecuted, he said. It creates an uncomfortable contrast. Emma had asked him to uninvite me. You made your choices, he said finally. Trevor is a federal judge. You defend people who belong in prison. I almost told him everything. But I didn't. Okay, Dad, I said quietly. I won't come. Saturday night while they celebrated success, I worked quietly in my apartment. Monday morning I woke at 5 a.m., put on my best suit, and prepared for my first day as Judge Alexandra Martinez, Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. And they had no idea. Specifically for the swearing-in ceremony my family didn't know about, I had my hair done professionally. I looked exactly like what I was, a federal appellate judge. At 8 a.m. I arrived at the Thurgood Marshall United States Courthouse at 40 Foley Square, not the Daniel Patrick Moynihan Courthouse where Trevor would be sworn in. That courthouse was for district court judges. The Thurgood Marshall Courthouse housed the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, one level higher in both prestige and power. My chambers were on the 15th floor with sweeping views of downtown Manhattan. My nameplate gleamed on the door. Honorable Alexandra Martinez, United States Circuit Judge. At 8:30, I met with the Chief Justice and the other Second Circuit judges for our weekly case assignment meeting. We reviewed upcoming oral arguments, debated procedural issues and discussed pending motions. At 9:15 my assistant knocked on my door. Judge Martinez, Judge Williams has arrived for his orientation meeting. Chief Justice Roberts is walking him over. Trevor was here for orientation. District court judges needed to understand how appellate courts functioned. Thank you, Jennifer, I said. Please show them to the conference room. I'll be right there. I took a breath and straightened my robes. Yes, I was wearing my judicial robes for the first time. Then I walked down the hallway. Through the glass walls of the conference room, I saw Trevor in his new suit, looking proud and confident. The Chief Justice was speaking to him, gesturing around the courthouse. I opened the door. Good morning, Chief Justice. Good morning, Judge Williams. Trevor turned around. His face went completely white. Alex, he whispered. Judge Martinez, the Chief Justice corrected gently. Though I understand you two know each other. He continued, Trevor, Judge Martinez was confirmed to the Second Circuit 2 weeks ago. She'll be one of the appellate judges reviewing cases from your district court. Trevor stared at me, at my robes, at the nameplate I'd brought into the room. You're a circuit court judge? He managed. As of last week, I said calmly. Please sit down. Trevor sat mechanically. The Chief Justice began explaining the relationship between district courts and appellate courts, how cases moved up, what rulings needed to include for effective appellate review. Trevor wasn't listening. He kept looking at me, then at the Chief Justice, then back at me. I'm sorry, Trevor interrupted. I just need to understand. Judge Martinez is on the Second Circuit. That's correct, the Chief Justice said. But she's 31 years old. 31 and brilliant, the Chief Justice replied firmly. Her confirmation was one of the smoothest I've seen in years. The American Bar Association gave her their highest rating. Her Senate confirmation was 67-33, which in this political climate is practically unanimous. He paused, then added, his tone cooling slightly, and yes, she was a public defender. One of the finest lawyers I've encountered in my career. Judge Martinez has argued 15 appellate cases and won 13. She's exposed prosecutorial misconduct in 3 offices and written extensively on constitutional law. Her legal mind is exceptional. Trevor looked like he might be sick. The press release went out an hour ago, I said quietly. It's probably hitting the news now. Trevor pulled out his phone with shaking hands. His face went even paler. Oh my God, he whispered. Oh my God. Emma. Your father. What about them? The Chief Justice asked. They don't know, Trevor said faintly. They don't know she's on the Second Circuit. The Chief Justice glanced at me, understanding dawning. I see, he said carefully. Well, they'll know now. It was already front-page news in the New York Times legal section. At 31, Alexandra Martinez becomes youngest Second Circuit judge in history, breaking barriers as former public defender. My phone is exploding, Trevor said. Everyone I know is texting me. Emma's calling. Your father is calling. He looked at me. Why didn't you tell them? They didn't ask, I said simply. And I was under orders to keep it confidential. But at the party, Emma announced our engagement. We were celebrating my appointment. If we'd known you were. If you'd known I was a circuit court judge, I finished, you wouldn't have excluded me. I paused. That's interesting, Trevor, because my career didn't change. My accomplishments didn't change. Only your perception of their value did. My phone buzzed again and again on the table. The Chief Justice nodded toward it. You may want to silence that. I did, after seeing the notifications. Emma, 37 missed calls. Dad, 28 missed calls. Mom, 19 missed calls. Family group chat, 156 unread messages. Trevor stood abruptly. I need to call Emma. He practically ran from the room. The Chief Justice looked at me sympathetically. Family complications? You could say that. For what it's worth, he said, you earned this entirely on merit. By Tuesday morning, the story had exploded nationwide. The New York Times, The Washington Post, NPR. Buried in the coverage was one quiet detail. Judge Martinez's sister, Emma Martinez, is engaged to Judge Trevor Williams of the Southern District of New York. The Martinez family was unavailable for comment. I turned off my phone and went to work. Because while they'd uninvited me from the party, I had built something far greater. I was the Honorable Alexandra Martinez, United States Circuit Judge for the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. And I had done it not despite being a public defender, but because of it. They threw a party. I built a legacy.